kind of the progress that he made this season and the jump that you saw from him, but also a little bit on the interview he gave recently. He alluded to a very good relationship with you, and you've talked a lot about how important player relationships are to you. Can you kind of give us a little insight into kind of the relationship that you've been able to build with De'Aaron?
Well, yeah, I would say that to me, the strides he made this season are extremely exciting for us. I think, when you're playing his position at his age and you win Western Conference Player of the Week multiple times, like that's a good indicator that not only he, but we are, have things to be excited about in the future. And I think that he really committed himself this offseason to shooting in the weight room. And he made some nice strides, partly due to his offseason work and partly due to just continuing to get a better feel for the game. As far as our relationship, like I've said, the best way to build relationships in this league is to put the work in, to sweat with the guys, be there, talk to them about not just basketball, but other things, and really let them know you care. And when they know that it's real, then bonds are built. And that's what we're trying to do here, not just from me, but my whole staff with the players. And look, we know it's not always about, it's not always going to end perfectly, but that's something that we try to do as a staff.
James Ham.
Yeah, Luke, now that we're at the end of the season here, just how would you describe it? I mean, we've called it manic, we've called it like a roller coaster ride, but what has this season been like for you and your staff?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're like, we go into individual play. I'm very pleased and excited with a lot of the progress we made from a team standpoint and individuals. I mean, you go down the line and I could make a case that, even guys like Harrison, who have been, had some really good years in their career. To me, he was playing some of his best basketball, career year, out of his career this season. So you can go down the line with it. And that, to me, that's something that's working. And it unfortunately doesn't always end in the results that you want from a win-loss. But we did see little pieces of it from, different win streaks that we were on. But it's, look, we're frustrated. We want to be part of the postseason. I know that the whole, the organization does, the fans do, the media does. So like that part of it is disappointing, but like, you got to look at the good too, and the progress that so many of these guys have made this year, and some of those stretches we went on, how hard that is to do in the NBA unless you're you're more of the elite teams. So to me, that's very exciting, going into the offseason.
Sean Cunningham.
Hey, Luke, the other night you were asked about you talked about how confident you were that you would be returning as head coach here in Sacramento. I was just wanted to follow up on that to see if you had any assurances that you would be, and if not, like, how does that kind of weigh on you as you kind of go into the final game and then exit interviews as well?
Yeah, it doesn't weigh on me because it's the same thing I always talk about. It's control what you can control. The same message I give my players every day. And to me, again, the storyline and the focus of Sacramento right now should be on this team and the excitement of what we saw out of our young rookie and Tyrese, and the progress that De'Aaron Fox made, and the year that Rashawn Holmes and Harrison Barnes had, and even Buddy, like watching Buddy continue to grow and start having games with 7 or 8 assists and low turnover numbers. Like that's what people that's what we should be talking about as a group and an organization. So you ask me, like I'll tell you, I'm not concerned at all, because it doesn't do anything for me or the group to be concerned. So we'll stay focused on the positive and the good things, and like I continue to say, I'm excited about this group and excited about our future.
Tony Harvey.
Yeah, Coach Walton, always kind of like on that subject, but I'm not even going to touch that question. But I do want to ask you, as you are still the head coach of the Sacramento Kings, following this game, I know you want to spend some time with your family, blah, 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 but you still have a job. What is your plans, going forward, as far as, the draft is going to be coming up, free agency, the whole shebang that we all know about, but what are you going to be doing forward after this last game to prepare for the next 2021-22?
Yeah. Well, look, yeah, we have a bunch of work to do this summer. But I think Alex set up the media day for Tuesday to kind of get into more of what the specifics of that look like. Because I mean, Tony, the answer for that is I could give you 20 different things, from player development to summer league to pre-draft workouts to free agents. So there's a lot that we have that we have to get done this summer. But we can talk more about that on Tuesday.
Jason Jones.
Hey, good afternoon, Luke.
Jason.
I know you talking about the improvement a lot of your guys did make this season, but you still look at the landscape of the West, like the top 8, most of the teams have at least one, if not 2 all-stars or superstar type players. Just as you get ready for the offseason, how do you look at the steps those guys you have can continue to make to boost yourself up in the standings when you look at just, top to bottom? There really aren't, many easy nights. Even teams below you have guys, like Minnesota has guys like Cat and D'Angelo.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great point, Jason. And it's, in the West, it's really it's kind of a recipe for success is getting multiple all-stars, if not, superstars. But we also know that we have to build that here. Like, we're not going to go sign, I can't say names, but we're not going to go sign a superstar this offseason. It's just that it's not the way it's going to work. So we have to build it from within. And that's where I tell you I'm excited about some of these guys that we have and some of the progress we made as a team, and where you can gain an advantage by not just plucking it out, right? There's different ways to do it. You go out in the free agency and get it done, or you build from within. And when you build from within, you get to build a culture, and you get to build a chemistry of guys who go through the tough times together, and that builds a toughness. And that's the path that, we have to be on. And that's fine. That's exciting. And it does bring its own advantages. But yeah, the West is going to be a monster again next year. So that's why the off season is going to be so important. Why we have to, we have to come back bigger and better ourselves, because that's the way it is out here.
Mark Jones.
Luke, what's going on, man? Hey, thanks for making year one for me a good one. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was watching the Memphis game a couple of nights ago and saw the guys putting out a good, hard effort, and right down to the final buzzer. Haven't watched NBA through the years, man. I've seen at the end of the season, this time of year, guys MF the coach on the way out of the game or refuse to go back in the game, and all kinds of madness. I've seen none of that with you, and it speaks to the investment in relationship building you've made with them. What does it say about them that they're still playing hard right now?
It says a lot about them, and it's, and listen, there's, even with relationships, you're still going to get MF'd every once in a while. And that's a good thing. That means you got some passion and people that care. So I'm okay with that too, as long as they keep, they understand what we're all trying to accomplish. But I think that not just right now, Mark, but throughout this whole season, like, we've gone through stretches that have been pretty tough. Stretches that when you're not a championship team or a team that's been there before, it's just as easy to fold and say, we'll get after it again next year. And every time we've been there this year, our guys have found a way to figure it out, continue to play hard, and start winning games again. And both those Memphis games ended up in losses, but boy, did they play hard, and they gave everything they had, and with obviously major pieces missing for us. So it speaks the world to the group, and those are the type of guys you want around. Those are you want to coach, and you want guys that are going to compete no matter what is going on. And we got a bunch of those guys in our group.
Jason Anderson.
Hey, Luke. Katie mentioned earlier the interview Fox had recently with Sports Illustrated, and he mentioned he said some things about staying together. moving forward with a coach you've grown to trust. He seemed to be advocating for some consistency and stability here. I just wonder what, to hear him talk about trust, given that you preach it so much, what did those words mean to you?
Oh, it's great. I've put a lot of responsibility onto De'Aaron as far as being our leader, one of our leaders. So when you hear someone like that speak up, it's good, because that means they're listening, and like I said before, it doesn't always, like, what we're doing is working, even if it doesn't always result in the amount of wins we want. You get guys that are saying things like that, and guys that are making the progress that a lot of our players have made this year. That's a system and a group that's working, and eventually that leads to more winning and more winning. Listen, I think the world of De'Aaron. I think he's had an incredible year, and I think he's going to be an incredible player in the future.
Virgo, last one, Katie.
Look, I hate to put you on the spot because it's like picking a favorite kid, really. But I want just kind of your perspective on maybe someone that surprised you the most this season and why.
Yeah, I can tell you who my favorite kid is too, if you want, Katie. I got no problem telling you I got a favorite. But I'd say the biggest surprise has been Tyrese, and I say that from a standpoint of to come from college and like the whole facility was shut down until we started training camp, and then training camp started, and it was like a week later you're playing games. So to go from that process of being a college kid with no summer league and no adjustment time to stepping right into that game in Denver that we opened the season with a win. Like, he hit 2 big threes in that game and kind of just kept it going. And then teams started figuring him out and made adjustments. And without a ton of practice time, he was able to readjust to how teams were starting to guard him. So as far as the biggest surprise, I'd say, the play of Tyrese.